Good evening, folks. This is Byron Jones with Recruit 804. Tonight I got Coach Loren Johnson here of Highland Springs. Coach, you guys are, going into your fourth straight state championship this weekend against a familiar opponent in Stonebridge. But we're going to talk a little bit first about, what you and I had discussed after the Verona game this year. You had made a comment to me, and it's something that stuck with me, and it was football is a means to an end for Loren Johnson. And tell me a little bit about what that means to you and your mission here at Highland Springs.
I think, really, man, just exactly what it says. It's a means to an end. Football has been great for me, and football has taught me a lot. Coming from South Florida, football helped me get my education. It took me to Europe, helped me meet my wife. It paid for college. Had the opportunity to go to Blacksburg and learn a little bit more about myself and who I was as a person, getting away from my mother and father. Football has just done so much for me as an individual. And it all started, in Little League in South Florida, playing football and just having an opportunity to grow. But, here at Highland Springs, I want the kids to have those same opportunities. And the only way to get those same opportunities, you got to work hard. That's the only reason the coach will come through. You got to work hard academically. You got to work hard athletically. And football is just a vehicle. So, in the front seat, of the vehicle, you have your priorities. You got your schoolwork, your family, your job if you have to get a job. And then, you got everything that encompasses you as a person probably in the back seat. So what I mean by that is our kids give up a lot. They sacrifice a lot to get in this vehicle and ride along with Coach Johnson and the other coaches on coaching staff and the other players that play football here to get to a destination. And some of the destinations, U.S. military, some of the destinations are trade schools, but for the majority of the kids, the destination is going to somebody's college and paying little or no money to get an education. And we all know that an education catapults, a young man to greater heights later on in life. It gives you an opportunity to, I know it's far-fetched, but meet their wife, you know what I mean? It may give them an opportunity to get a great paying job. It may change the landscape of their family dynamic. A lot of our kids are first-generation college students, and with that being said, still in 2018, we gotta find ways to get them there to be debt-free and moving in the right direction. So football allows us to do all of those things, and it's based on your talent or your talent that you've developed or your skill set that you've developed, and it puts you in a position to receive a scholarship, to play a game that's a kid's game that receives a king's ransom. And we believe that here. We talk about that a lot, and we want the kids to understand that, hey, if you work hard in our weight room, if you work hard in the classroom, if you work hard on the field, it gives you a great opportunity to be successful.
Guys, tell us a little bit about your relationship with Coach Johnson.
Me, Coach Johnson, he's not just a coach, he's like another father figure. Our communication and bond, we just stick together and talk to each other about everything, and then everything. We just got a great bond together.
I think with me and Coach Jay, it's just more off the field than on the field. Yeah, he's my coach, but he's still going throughout the school, teaching me life lessons and teaching me more than the game of football. So I always look at Coach Jay more than just a coach.
Yeah, Coach Jay to me, he's more than a coach. He works with us more off the field than probably on the field. And yeah, he definitely is a leader in life. He teaches us like good lessons and things that we can fall back on when we grow up as young men.
So, as I mentioned, you guys have been in the program since your freshman year on varsity. You've seen a lot of guys come through. The last three classes, of course, won state titles. What would a fourth title mean to you guys as a senior class and as a program moving forward?
I think to us, to the whole program, and just give us that fire that we can do it. It's like we can do anything we put our mind to. Everybody say we can't go 15-0, we can't win a fourth state, but we're in a position to do it. So now we just got to put forth the effort.
DeAndre?
Yeah, a fourth straight state title would definitely be great to the community and for the team, especially since it's the first four. So we've been there for the first four state championships. That means a lot.
Waller?
It's pretty special. It's like a spotlight. We got pretty much got the city on our back. 804, trying to represent our city, but most of all, we're just representing our school, trying to get our school on the map. Coming out being great, just dominating, being great, taking over opportunities.
So, back to that Verona game, like at the end of it, because we were talking for a little bit afterwards, but you had gotten into the story a little bit about your first day here at Highland Springs when you and your wife showed up. I believe it was like to interview here.
Yeah.
I think if I can remember correctly, you had said like when you arrived here, you said, "This is my spot. This is where I'm supposed to be." So, tell me a little bit about that story and when you arrived here, how you felt and how you knew it was your place.
Yeah, I think the school just reminded me of home, and it was March of 2008. We were interviewing early March, I think it was, and the school was torn open on the side, like they were doing construction in the school, doing a remodel. But as the kids got off the bus, around that 8:45, 9 o'clock time, I just saw a lot of kids that looked like me, racially. That's one. Of course, that's an easy one. But I saw kids that were enjoying their high school day. I mean, it was cold. It's March. They don't see me looking at them, but I'm looking at them, and I can see them going throughout their day in this building that's half open in the front of the school. But it didn't bother kids. You saw kids going into the trailers. It didn't bother kids. And I didn't know the dynamic into the school or what was going on in the school. I just saw things on the periphery. And I think that was enough for me to say, this is a place I want to be. This is a place I feel like I can make an impact. It was never any nerves or fear or anything walking to the situation. I knew that there was a possibility that great things could happen here at Highland Springs if we got the right mix of coaches and players and community, buying into what we were doing.
So talk a little bit about the state of the program when you inherited it. What were some initial challenges or some trials and tribulations you and your staff experienced on your way here to where we are today?
Yeah, I think you first got to start off by saying, like, my predecessor, Scott Burton, did a great job of getting the program up and back to its, what we say around here, normal state, right? So this is kind of the norm for what Highland Springs has been, and that's way beyond me. That's like Al Rinaldi, Coach Bratton, Coach Stokes. Those guys did a great job of just getting the program moving in the right direction. And then kind of fell off a little bit toward the end of Coach Stokes' career. And then Coach Burton came in and just did a phenomenal job to getting the program back to a high standard. But the number one challenge when I first came in was not, what type of athletes you have. It's just getting the athletes to work together as a family and work together as a unit. And once we got that moving in the right direction, the sky was the limit. But it took some challenges. Like there were some times, the boundary lines changed on us. We lost some kids to Henrico. We lost some kids to Verona. Because lines were changing on the west end with Glen Allen being built. So that kind of affected us a little bit on the east end. So we had a couple down years where we didn't have as many athletes, but still the work ethic and being at Highland Springs was just as important to them as it is right now. So with that being said, the work ethic was there, the attention to detail was there. We just had to get over the hump. And for a long period of time, getting over the hump was just winning the first playoff game. And you can hear grumblings from alumni. If you can't win the first playoff game, then you probably shouldn't be in the playoffs, or you'll never be as good as the Coach Ward coach teams or the Coach Rinaldi coach teams or the Coach Bratton coach teams, because you can't win the first round of the playoff game. So it was just a point. Let's get into the playoffs. That was very, very tough early on, because it was you lose one, you lose the wrong one, you lose one in the district, you're done. So we had to get over that hump, and then we had to get over the hump of winning, the first playoff game. And once we won the first playoff game, the kids had a taste of it, the coaching staff had a taste of it, and we could just run with it from there.
So this is, you guys' third time playing Stonebridge in the States. Talk to us a little bit about how you guys have been prepping for them this week. Has anything been any different this time around as far as preparation is concerned for this team? And what are some keys to victory come Saturday?
I'm gonna let the offense go first. Well, preparation's been the same since day one. we prepare for each opponent the same exact way every time. It's just another game.
For us, it's like a little bit more focus. We just watching more film. Make sure we understand every like position in the game that we could be in. Just understanding the concept and executing the plays or everything that's gonna work against them.
Like Devontae said, collectively as a team, it's just putting ourselves in certain concepts, certain situations to understand how to be successful as a team. But group-wise, defense, we're just focused on being more disciplined and more sound as a team. You know, just playing our type of football and not getting caught up in what may look like a big stage.
So, moving on to this weekend, guys by the name of Mike Smith, longtime coach at Hampton, and Bill D at Phoebus, you have a chance on Saturday to join an elite group elite small group that is of VHSL Hall of Fame coaches who are right now are the only ones who've won 4 consecutive state titles. What does that mean for the Loren Johnson legacy? And Highland Springs to be in that company. Well, if you guys, obviously, take care of business.
I mean, if we win the game on Saturday, the first thing I'm gonna say is long overdue for the school. Forget about Loren Johnson, but like Highland Springs has had a tremendous amount of athletes. The team in 2007 that was assembled here at Highland Springs is probably the best team I've seen in high school football in a long time. Now, I know I haven't seen everybody, and I didn't always see the Ronald Curry's teams and stuff like that at Hampton. But that team, when I turn on that tape, if you go back to the 2007 team, I mean, it was athletes everywhere. Derek Hopkins, Antoine Hopkins, Harry Lee Daniel, the list goes on and on and on. They got guys going all over the country to go to school and play football. And I just called a few names. But with that being said, the school deserves something of this nature, but we have to work to get it. Like, nobody's gonna give us anything. So it means a lot more for the history of the school and the legacy of the school than it does for Loren Johnson. For Loren Johnson, it just says that, hey, I've been happy the last game of the last 4 seasons if we win, right? It doesn't say that I've done anything special, but, I don't want to downgrade the coaching job that we've done here as a coaching staff, but, it just speaks volumes to the guys that I have around me. It speaks volumes to our wives supporting us. It speaks volumes to our administration, how they function, and the past principals, the current principal. It just says that Highland Springs is a force to be reckoned with academically and athletically. For me, legacy-wise, like we talk about that 10 years from now, right? Right now, we just want to win a ball game. It happens to be the state championship that we're playing an opponent that we know. And if we can get it done, man, we'll talk about those things later on. God bless Bill D and his family, from Phoebus. I mean, that Coach D was a great coach. Coach Smith still kicking at Hampton, still moving. He may go out and win the next 5. Who knows what Coach does? So you don't count those things out, and you don't count your eggs before they're hatched. So for me, I just look at it as, man, it means more for the guys who were here, like in the 80s, in the 70s, who played football at Highland Springs, that didn't get a chance to play in any state championships. The teams that lost to Annandale, the teams that used to get beat up by Bethel in scrimmages, back in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, and mid 90s. It speaks volumes to what those guys have done and what they've built. And we're just now reaping the benefit of it at this point in time. So as a football coach, man, I enjoy coaching football. So it could be Little League, it could be girls football, powder puff, it could be flag, it could be anything. I'm going to work the same way and work hard at what we're doing. And if people respond, if people pay attention, if people listen, I think the coaching staff here at Highland Springs has enough information and enough experience to get a program where they need to be or where they want to be.
So last question here for you, Coach, and I'm going to let you go. As you mentioned, Stonebridge is a familiar opponent. 3rd time around for you guys with them in the state championship. How have you guys this week in practice prepared for them? And, what are some keys to victory on Saturday?
Well, I can tell you, this is the 3rd time we're playing them. It's a different way of practicing each time we played them. We can't do the same things we did in the past. We just got to mix some things up. You got to be physical. So it was a physical week in practice, both offensively and defensively, but also a mental week. Like understanding where to go, making sure we're in the right place offensively, the offensive line blocking the right people, the running backs running the right place, quarterback making the right reads. On the defense side of the ball, making sure we align correctly, making sure we run to the ball, we're physical, because they're going to be a physical football team on offense, and making sure we're prepared for the special teams play. I mean, these guys do just as much special teams work as we do, and we have to be prepared for it, and we got to be ready to go. So, I mean, this week has been fun. This week has been a lot of learning. This week has been normal. This week has been filled with laughter and joy. But we don't feel like we've accomplished everything that we set out to do when we started back in August. So this week has also been a week of remembering like the time and the effort that we put in and why we do the things that we do in the off season. Our morning workouts, our tough workouts in the summertime, running in the sand pit, getting all those things done. This has kind of been a week where we want to remember the amount of work that we put into our program, our community, and our school.
Awesome, Coach. Well, we look forward to covering you guys as always on Saturday, and best of luck.
Thank you very much, man.